Welcome. Welcome to Pycon 2017. For a second wonderful year, we're in Portland, Oregon. I'm glad all of you made it, and happy to see people still streaming in to the building to join us. Once again, you are stuck in an odd little twilight zone of Portland, depicted only as an empty gap on the official neighborhood map, because you are not in a neighborhood of Portland, because it has a mall. And a very nice convention center, of course. You are in the Lloyd district, and therefore we hope, as we did last year, that at some point you'll get the chance to get out of the Lloyd district, take one of the light rail or a bus, and get to see some of the rest of this beautiful city. Last year, that sell was a pretty easy one for me to make. I simply mentioned that TriMet, they have public transportation, buses, light rail, commuter rail, and streetcars. At registration, we made available passes that for the whole duration of Pycon give you free rides on all of those services. And then they decided to make it complicated. Portland kind of thought, you know, we have this world-class public transportation. How about we just not instead? Have any of you noticed that already? Raise your hand if you've encountered somewhat less than stellar public transportation. Some of the lines going downtown needed repair work and needed to be worked on. So, in the official press release, which I did go and look up, they said TriMet is asking riders to consider alternatives. And saying that to people that had already gone to all of the work to use alternative transportation. But for at least today and tomorrow, you will need to find an alternative to your alternative transportation. So the trains are going to be running less often. The official recommendation is that you add 30 to 45 minutes to trips that you want to take in and out of the city. The lines are only diverted through tomorrow, May 20th. I looked at the news sites this morning. There were no indications that was going to have to be moved back, so the public transportation should be back up and running full steam on Sunday, just in time for you to leave Pycon. But we hope you're able to still get in and out of the city. We wanted to go ahead and warn you about that circumstance. Pycon is a conference run by the Python Software Foundation, a nonprofit, and hundreds of volunteers for the Python community. The group of people worldwide, we understand, of course, only a fraction are able to make it here to Portland in the United States, a community of people that all are using the same tool for a multitude of different uses. The question of software and what it's going to do to society is a very big one at the moment. I want to share for a moment that for me personally, it's very, very important to somehow be plugged in to the ways that software and its power are being used to increase freedom. I live in a small town in the Midwest. In each of the last 2 years, one of our venerable, well-respected old local garages, car repair facilities, has gone out of business or been sold. Because in both cases, the head mechanic has chosen to take retirement because of the cost today of having appropriate tools. Why is that, you say? You need a good socket set, you need wrenches, but today you don't just need a socket set, you need software. Every model year of vehicle today comes with new software, and all of that test equipment that you paid thousands and maybe tens of thousands for last year, doesn't work on the new model of vehicle. You have to pay all over again to license the new diagnostic modules, the new software to tune the O2 sensor and everything else. And if you can't pay up, if you can't afford it, if you can't maintain the prices that traditionally brought people to your shop instead of the dealership, you're out of business. Today, in many industries, software is becoming a way for large monopolies like the car industry to reclaim and to a good deal of income, to get rid of all those pesky independents who are charging reasonable prices for fixing a car. And in the midst of a world where entire small industries can today be clobbered by the way we've structured our laws around software, I am so proud to be part of a community of people that in at least one area, your programming language, have said no. That you want to use a tool available to the new student in school as well as to the professional, to the academic without a large budget, as well to the big business. You want to be part of something that is driven not off of leveraging software law to make things expensive, but something that is leveraged off of community. Something put on the internet for free in 1991 so that anyone could use it, and that today has gathered, look around you, such a big group of people that are all excited about using a tool that is available to help any human endeavor, not just those that can pay a fee. Because Python is used for so many different things and so many different activities, we work to make this conference, Pycon, as inclusive as possible, where the only issue that should divide people is significant indentation and, of course, tabs versus spaces. But our intention here is that while we gather around the celebration of some of our favorite technologies this weekend, we not judge or mistreat any other human being for any reasons that today cause division in our world. For your reference, on our website is a code of conduct which we use to make recourse available to any who might find themselves harassed or unwelcome in this space, along with instructions about how to contact us organizers. And we know, as I said last year, that you won't just be striving to do the minimum. We see year after year how you step forward and treat with the utmost excellence all of your fellow delegates and everyone welcomed here into this space along with you. We as a conference are still learning this and tooling up, but we make steps and let us know how we can improve our accessibility. Captioning is one thing we added a few years ago and are continuing to do. And finally, we do have childcare available that many people signed up and took advantage of, and that is helping a number of parents come and attend today who might otherwise have had problems and not been able to. And thank you to all the volunteers who make those programs possible. All right, Pycon, just for a brief introduction, for those of you who might not have, I know a number of you are here for your first time, it is split into 3 pieces. One doesn't really matter at this point because it's over. Previous 2 days were our tutorial days. If you are interested and didn't take part, watch next year in the 2018 cycle for the chance to sign up for either paid tutorials from experts in various areas of Python or free sponsor workshops where our sponsors are able to communicate with those of you who might be their customers or might be interested in becoming users of their tools. This is the first of the 3 main conference days, and then for those of you who are staying longer in Portland, we'll be using part of this facility for 4 days of sprints where coders get together to move open source projects forward and to bring newcomers to their project up to speed on what it's like to write code and contribute to the biggest and the smallest, some of the oldest and some of the newest Python projects that are out on the internet. How early should you get up in the morning? After late nights, it can be a big decision. Tomorrow morning, a number of you will be waking up very early, earlier than I am tomorrow. And may I comment on how early the sun comes up in Portland? Where I live, the sun comes up at the moment at about 6:10. The sun came up at like 5:30 this morning. I'd have closed the hotel room, blinds if I'd have known that. So Portland starts their mornings very early, and we will start our morning very early tomorrow with our 5K charity fun run. If you're already registered for that, make sure that it's tomorrow morning, not Sunday. Make sure you get up on time and get to the starting line by about 6:30 a.m. to take part. Other than that, both of our subsequent conference days will have breakfast at 8, lightning talks up on this stage, fast-paced 5-minute talks on a number of issues and ideas, starting at 8:30, and then 9 a.m. each morning is when we start our different keynote and plenary sessions. After the morning plenary, the day is split into, really 4 different tracks: schedule of talks that you've seen on the website and in your printed program, open spaces, an unconference that we have a number of rooms reserved for. We have a big board where you can schedule impromptu meetings with other people about topics that anyone is free to show up and contribute about. And then over in the other large rooms in the conference center, our Expo Hall, where all of the sponsors that help make this conference possible are available for you to meet and talk to, and in some cases, get free swag from. I want to say how extraordinary it is that for a programming language put up on the internet, on Usenet, for free in 1991, it's really a kind of almost alchemy that we get both so many individuals interested in this open source language, as well as some of the biggest businesses in the entire world. It turns out that free languages, free tools, and an open ecosystem and community isn't just good for individuals. It's in many cases very good for big businesses as well, and many of those businesses are saying thank you to the community by choosing to sponsor. Think for a moment how much your ticket cost, not your airplane ticket, your registration to come to Pycon. Double that number. That's around, it goes back and forth a bit each year, but we would have had to charge you each about double to have this space, to cater the food, in order to hold this conference, if it weren't for the fact that so many businesses, some nonprofits, large businesses and small, have stepped forward and said that this community is something worth investing in. For the contributions they make to cutting our ticket prices in half, I want to thank all of the sponsors that you'll be meeting in the Expo Hall. In the evening, so I said there are really 4 tracks. The other one, although I didn't put it on the slide, is the hallway track, that beyond attending talks, going to open spaces, and hanging out in the Expo Hall, a number of people love sitting at the round tables, walking the halls, and getting, both in planned ways and unplanned, to talk to and meet their fellow PyCon attendees. That's entirely optional if you don't like meeting people, some people, but we hope that if you enjoy it, that you'll take advantage of the fact to not just go to the events we planned, or that individuals plan and put on the open spaces board, but we hope you'll also have that meeting, that encounter that is entirely unplanned, but that leads you to glimpse or to learn about some other part of the Python community. In the evenings, we do have some planned events because of the venues we hold them in. Only a fraction of you got to sign up for the dinner tonight, the dinner Sunday night on the last night, though many people will be able to fit into the Pie Ladies auction tomorrow night. Thank you for the volunteers that make that possible. About the dinners. We are very excited, as we were last year, that so many of you signed up for the dinners. When you registered, it cost a little extra because we have to pay for the catering, but hundreds of you sign up to pay extra money in order to attend one of those 2 dinners. We discovered last year, however, that far fewer of you actually show up. The opening dinner and the Sunday evening dinner were about 100 people short each last year, which meant a lot of food didn't get consumed. I mean, the PSF isn't out any money. You paid for the food, but the food went to waste. And other uses had to be found for it in the city. So I encourage you. I know that for many of you, it was many months ago. And you might not even remember having registered for the conference. You found yourself here, but you don't actually remember. It was a long time ago, especially if you signed up in the fall. But if you could, please double check your registration. And if it does say that you're signed up for one of those dinners, we'd love to see you. If you didn't make the deadline and aren't signed up, we hope that you're able to find other people and go out and eat and enjoy at other interesting venues in this city, because this really, really is a fun city to visit. We'll comment again as last year on the fact that our talks are somewhat widely separated. The design of this convention center, which for conventions smaller than our own is able, I believe, to support 2 at once by having 2 different clusters of ballrooms at opposite ends of the building. Because we run so many simultaneous tracks, we split our 2 tracks on one side, 3 on the other, between opposite ends of the building. So we apologize in advance for the fact you will sometimes be a minute late for that next talk when you have to cross the entire atrium in order to get there. Open Spaces board, if you want to create impromptu events, is over by registration. I mentioned the Expo Hall. It is only the Expo Hall for today and tomorrow. At one of my early Pycons, I was busy the first 2 days, and I'll go see all of the sponsors Sunday. It turns out you can't. They're not there on Sunday. All of those booths are taken down on Saturday night. So if you are interested in experiencing the Expo Hall, and of course it is where we have all of our meals, you'll want to do that today and tomorrow. However, one row of the Expo Hall is different each day, where if you wait until tomorrow to visit, you'll have missed half of it, and that is Startup Row. In order to celebrate the number of little startups each year that build their platform on top of Python, we have an entire row of startups that is different. In order to fit them all in, we have to have them set up and tear down each day. So if you're interested in seeing the new little enterprises that are starting to use our language, visit it both on Friday and Saturday and get to hear their stories of what they're doing. Why do we tear down the Expo Hall the second night of the conference? It's because on Sunday it will be the location of the poster sessions where you get to walk up and talk with people doing interesting things in Python, and then the job fair where there'll be tables where you can talk to employers, share your resume, and find out about the kind of opportunities that being a Python programmer can open today. And there are a number of outside events. Instead of listing them, I'll refer you to the website that we keep updated as sponsors tell us about evening events and get-togethers. We hope you'll enjoy any of those that you choose to go and visit. That is our, if you want to tweet at us, we are at Pycon. If you want to tweet about this conference, it is hashtag PyCon2017. And finally, I was asked specifically to repeat this year the reminder that I gave last year. When a talk is over and there's an extra minute, so they open up the microphone for questions and for the person on stage to answer. When you get up in front of that microphone and you're ready to say something, please remember to phrase your question in the form of a question.